What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the Gray Meat. This is the GoreCast, Beyond the Gray Meat here, and I got my buddy Bernie here. What's up, Bert? How are you doing?
Doing good, thank you.
Yeah, man. Welcome in. I think that we are live right now, so I'm gonna make sure it's working. Looks like it is. Nice. Happy Sunday. Welcome. Got some music going. So yeah, I thought tonight, we've been watching a lot of fucked up movies this month of October together, and I thought maybe we would kind of just explore some of those because kind of long form podcast might work a little bit better than actually just like one-on-one videos. It gets a little more censored, so I got a stack here, man, and then we've got other ones we watched that we don't have in front of us. But
yeah,
what do you watch today?
Well, I didn't really watch anything, but last night before I passed out, I put on 13 Ghosts, and yeah, watched that, the remake, of course. So had some fun with that last night.
Yeah. Well, the night before we did Hellraiser and Dead Alive, which was pretty intense. Then I fell asleep. I was watching Mother, the Darren Aronofsky film, and I got real uncomfortable. No, I finished it yesterday. I remember falling asleep. Yeah.
I have not.
Well, now that we can hear ourselves, what's up?
I said I have not seen Mother yet. I don't believe.
Oh yeah, it's something else. I think it's like a biblical allegory for Mother Earth, and then basically he's kind of like fixing up this giant house, and then people start to come in and they just kind of destroy the house, where they're like, they bring in diseases, and one's a doctor, and it's really hard to describe it. Basically everything was pristine, she's fixing it up, and then the sins of this world just kind of take it down, and there's some shocking elements, but it's pretty awesome. I remember when it came out, my sister watched it, and she was like, "Don't ever watch that movie, you're gonna hate it so much." And I was like, "Dude, this is awesome." What are you talking about? Anyway, it's a trip to be able to see and hear at the same time. This is like pretty cool technology. Last time we did not have everything working right. We were just kind of going live. So if I cut you off, I apologize. I'm so loud in my headphones. But
it's okay. So am I in mine. For myself.
I'm gonna go ahead and crank this up here. Well, I feel like we got some heavies we got to talk about, but we could probably start easy with something, that's kind of just. I'm smiling. I apologize. There's going to be a lot of that. You got to have fun with these kind of things, because they're so like disgusting that eventually you have to look at it through a different lens, which is humor, right? So, Megan is missing. That's a film.
Yeah.
Now, I guess I'm curious as to what you thought about it.
Well,
you're right.
Yeah, I believe that was the first movie you let me borrow that started this nasty video watching. But yeah, that movie wasn't bad at all. Found footage. Definitely enjoyed it. It was a little, I don't know, because you hyped it up. You hyped it up before you gave it to me, and I remember being like,
I do that.
Yeah. Do not watch this movie with your roommate. You're gonna want to watch something happy afterwards. I was like, oh god, what are we getting ourselves into? And then I ended up watching it with my roommate, and yeah, we both were a little shocked by it, but at the same time, it wasn't as intense as I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be like level 11. Well, here it was coming in like at a 7. And I was like, okay. I handled it. There was definitely some intense stuff. I'm not sure what I can and can't say on YouTube, but
right.
Yeah.
Things happen.
Yeah, things happen in not so nice ways to Megan. That last 10 minutes was a little rough to watch, not in the sense that it was like bad, but it just kept going on and on. That was like, all right, put her in the hole already. But sorry.
Oh yeah, I think that like the first the first hour, just like, oh, this is bad. Kind of pervy though, right? Like, why are we focusing on these? Like, these are like really young adults here. That I mean, I guess it's the dangers of the internet, and it's pretty effective for what it is. But damn, we just like sit with them, every uncomfortable party situation, and online stalker and predator, and it's not just like Megan is missing; her friend's missing, right? It's like,
Yeah.
put her in the hole already.
Sorry. But yeah, the last 10 minutes. I mean, I guess the last 20-25 minutes is all pretty rough, but that last little bit where he's digging and it's just like, oh god, this keeps going. I remember my roommate was like, how long is he going to keep digging this hole for? I was like, I am
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like when you start to like pick up the remote and you're looking for the info button in the dark, because you shouldn't be watching this with other people, really. I mean, a roommate's fine, especially if you're not dating them. It's totally fine, you know. But if you're with a loved one, I don't think you should. I don't know. I felt bad. I felt dirty, so I was looking for the info button, like trying not to make too much noise, so I could just see how much more of this digging like we had left. You know, I was like, oh, 18 minutes, 18 minutes, and it just would not stop.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting about Megan is Missing was like the whole Reddit. You know, I kept seeing it on those, like, you know, the Reddit iceberg. Where do you live on the Reddit iceberg? How demented can you get? Yeah. They were like, no, you don't want to watch that at night. And then I started reading reviews and they were all like, don't watch at night. And I was like, I'm watching this shit 100%. And then, I mean, I definitely know which part they're talking about. That barrel scene, like, pretty, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Yeah, they find Megan.
Somebody finds Megan, that's for sure.
Yeah, somebody
Not
finds
they.
Megan. Oh my word!
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, spoilers. I don't know. Again, I don't know how deep we're going into it. But yeah, some of the.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say some of the party stuff was a little cringe for me at the beginning. I do remember that. Just the dialogue and how the young, I don't know, but like teenagers, young adults, whatever, how they were portrayed was kind of interesting to me too. But I was like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna get through this, get to the intense stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where I fall. Do you agree with kind of like, I don't know, like the public outrage about, you know, the director was just like exploiting these girls? I mean, I just felt like his camera angles and the way he was like zooming in on stuff, like I was just like, can we just chill out here, buddy? Like, it was just very, I don't know. It felt exploitative. Like, I mean, I don't know. Because then I think he backpedaled and that's where the controversy was. You know, he's like, no, I always made for it to be like this cautionary tale, which I don't think was the case in the beginning. I think he was just being...
Yeah, I mean, the beginning it was pretty much just like a bunch of young women partying it up, and they're all portrayed to be like sex fiends almost, or like party monsters. And yeah, I'm pretty sure they're all, but I think supposed to be in high school, right? So it's just kind of, and yeah, and then some of the, it's a very sexualized scenario or situations at the beginning of the movie. Especially with that dude at the party who was just like, oh yeah, you're my number one, Megan. And I was just like, who is this douchebag? But, you know, then 10 minutes later, she's in the back room with him. So it's like, oh, okay. But yeah, it is very exploitive in that sense. And yes, a lot of the actors and actresses in it are young, or they look young. I'm hoping, I'm sure they're probably close to 18 and or 18. I don't know. With the exact age of them while filming, but yeah.
I mean, it says right on it, a powerful, important film that deserves both attention and discussion. Yeah, it's something else. And on the back, it's got this little section where it says, this film contains scenes of drug use, sexual assault, and frank language. It's not intended for persons under the age of 18. Viewer discretion strongly advised. Well, of course it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's made well. I just think, yeah, cringe is the word, right? Cringe is the word. Where do you want to go next now that we open that barrel of worms?
Oh gosh. I have no idea. Look at my list here.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna save obviously the big four for a little later, but I wanna. I know you did a video on this earlier, and well, a while back actually. I'm not too far. Don't remember how far back, but you did one on Faces of Death, and
Mm.
I remember watching about a half hour of that in high school, and I don't even know how we got our hands on it. I'm pretty sure one of us rented it. We were just having a movie night at our buddy's girlfriend's house. Maybe like six or eight of us, and we're all watching it. And I
Perfect.
knew nothing about this movie going into it. I honestly thought it was like supposed to be a movie that was telling a story. So, going into it, and next thing you know, they're like chopping off monkey heads or eating monkey brains or whatever, and people running in front of trains. I was like, what is going on here? Yeah, and then I remember, I think all the girls pretty much decided they did not want to watch it anymore after about like a half hour, and we turned it off, put on something else.
That's that sounds about the going rate. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
yeah. High school parties. What grade did you say you were in?
Oh God, I was trying to think about where I was either a sophomore or a junior.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I think I seen it when I was probably like 10 or I rented it just from like it was this place in Olympia. It's called Video Update. Or it went through like at first it was in a QFC, which was kind of like the grocery store that had the little videos on the shelves. Then it became Movie Update or Movie Library. Then it was Video Update. Anyway, I just rented it like as a 10-year-old kid with on my little aunt's account with my cousin. We just brought it home, like no problem.
Nice.
Just yeah, dude, that movie's a trip. I think that it was effective, all that monkey stuff and some of the like cruelty, and obviously there's some like real accidents and stuff in there, but Traces of Death jacked me up like way more because I think Faces of Death, there's a lot of recreations and whatever, and they said yeah, it's like 60% real, 40% fake. It's still very effective though. It's still very like oh yeah, this is super fun to watch.
Yeah.
Traces of Death was all real, and I was like oh my god. The heavy metal soundtrack is like, what? This is so not okay. I felt like I was like, yeah, summoning Satan when I was a little kid. Freaked me out.
Oh.
Like, let's watch Tales from the Crypt or Traces of Death and never be the same again. Man.
Yeah, I just wanted to give that one a little shout out because
Yeah.
I remember seeing it back in the day.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. I got some new stuff in the mail that I haven't done any. I have like a stack of movies here. Carcinoma from Marion Dora. He did Cannibal. So this is I don't know if it's the second or third movie that he did, but it's basically somebody that has cancer and decides to ignore it and act on everything that can happen. I mean, it's just as gross. There's some like real animal stuff in it. I have not seen all of it, so I can't wait to digest all of that. That's going to be super fun. And then another one from him, I have seen the Melancholy Der Angle. Got these from Diabolic for, I think they were like $20, maybe, Blu-rays. This one's got a slip. This thing's super old, so that was pretty cool.
Nice.
And then Gutter Balls, which has a couple of horrible scenes in it that I can't really talk about. And then Vortex from, I haven't seen this, but I've been really wanting to watch it. Gaspar Noah, however you say it. And that's pretty much just like people getting dementia and then what happens in a 6 month to a year. And it just films these old folks and it's supposed to be really sad and very like off-putting, but it sounds like something I'd really like.
Interesting.
His other movies are pretty nuts, like Irreversible and Climax. What else did he do? And you know, we were looking at the video nasty list too, man, and so many of those movies are just kind of like they've got a couple of shocking scenes of violence, and that is it. Evil Dead,
Ooh.
way up there on the video nasty list, and this is just like standard cinema, just like classic horror. Like that's just what you should watch.
Ooh, yeah.
It's a trip. I don't know. Were you looking at that video nasty list?
I looked at some lists. Yeah, I looked at 2 or 3 different lists. I was just kind of like, oh god, hadn't seen most of what was on those lists. But Evil Dead definitely saw that. Had that on VHS. God, I that was probably one of the movies my brain just exploded, especially at the Scotty chopping up his girlfriend scene.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I think the look on my face was probably like as I was because I think 8th grade was when I saw that one for the first time. Yeah, I was just kind of like, how did they do that? I was just amazed by the Evil Dead. I mean, I love the Evil Dead trilogy and all that great stuff. Sam Raimi's awesome. But yeah, that was probably one of the first movies I saw that had any like crazy amount of gore in it, like in that fashion.
Yeah, but when I think of the Evil Dead, what comes up first? A lot of people think of the tree, you know, and I totally get that. I always think of the pencil scene, the pencil into the ankle, just like jacked up. I think I want to say I was in like 7th or 8th grade too. It was a party. We were having pizza. First, we watched that movie Stigmata, you know, that I really didn't like that much because it was just kind of slow. And then we put on the Evil Dead, and it was just balls to the wall, dude. And when she goes, just like lose Jack of Diamonds, she starts like freaking out, calling the cards. Freaked me out. Love Evil Dead. We could do a whole episode just on Evil Dead. 2 hours.
Probably. Yeah.
No problem.
Oh, yeah.
We do, but what do you want to talk about next? What else did you watch that you got thoughts on?
Yeah. All right. Excuse me. All right. Might as well go to one of the super nasty ones. Cannibal, right? Oh man. Ooh. Cannibal. I got some notes here.
How do we even talk about this movie?
Exactly.
I think we can hint around it pretty well, but dude.
I was just gonna say the notes I made had to do with like not the gore just yet or content, but it was more like interesting choices to not have dialogue throughout most of that movie. I remember because you again talked about the movie a little bit before you let me borrow it, so I had a little bit of an understanding of what was supposed to happen. But like the first half hour or so, there's like zero dialogue. This dude is meeting up with other dudes, and I remember I just kept thinking like, I know where this leads to, but if I didn't know where this was going, it's just like a guy meeting up with other guys and just being let down for some reason, and I don't know why, because there's no dialogue, and he just seems disappointed and then walks away. But then he does find somebody, I think it was in a news clipping or something like that. And then that almost turns into like a weird little love story almost. And again, if I didn't know where it was going, it'd be like, oh, these are just 2 dudes who met each other and they're happy now, because it is kind of like that, hanging out in that guy's house. And then eventually everything starts to get a little crazier, and it's like, oh my god,
just a little bit.
Yeah. I did make a note too that I love the cinematography in it. Interesting color palettes as well. It's just this gritty kind of dark movie as well. Really enjoyed that. Yeah, and interesting camera angles throughout as well. I guess. All right, going into
how's he going to describe this? In my head, I'm like, where's he going? Where's Fern going here?
Yeah,
let's get to the meat and potatoes of the situation.
Yeah, so to the gore and to what ends up happening, I put that it had really good practical effects, and I didn't know it going into it. I got told through a mutual friend of ours that a lot of the gore was actually like pig, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so there is intense stuff in it that is all in camera. They don't cut away, no nothing. Yeah.
Okay.
Some biting, some cutting. What else is there? Some defecating while carrying somebody.
Oh man.
But
hallway.
Yeah, that hallway bit. Oh Lord. But the thing that got me the most, and it's the first movie that I ever gagged watching, and it was during this bit where his member, I'll say, gets cut off, and the dude, mind you, the dude that's getting eaten and all this stuff wants this to happen to him.
100%. That's what we got to preface it with.
Yes.
He's calling him. Keep going.
Yeah, and so the moment it gets, cut off and taken away, he pleasures himself like right after it happens. And the moment the fluid started coming, I was just like, I just could not handle that.
Too much.
Yeah. Then after that, it was just pretty much a downhill spiral of just like getting more messed up and more messed up. Yeah, but at the same time, a lot of it, I was just very taken in. I kind of had to just distract myself for what I was watching by being like, all right, how did they do this? Because it's all in camera, it's all practical effects. So and then I got told that later that like most of the gore and intestines or whatever and skin is all like pig. So I was like, oh, no wonder it looks so real. But yeah, those are my thoughts generally on it.
This one, I mean, I think I'm all stuttering. Did you ever watch? There's like an American version of this film called Grim Love.
Oh no, never heard of it.
Pretty solid movie, and it gets a little bit PG-13 for some of the stuff that Cannibal decides to kind of really get into. I think that I wanted you to watch it because you're a filmmaker, so I wanted to know like what you thought of how they're in that bathroom, that hallway, and it's just like there's no cutting. It's just you were exposed in it, and the dude wants to get eaten, and he's like calling the other guy that can't eat him correctly weak, and that's pretty much the only dialogue is like grunts and like eat me, like very, very strange. And I think it makes you kind of lean in a little bit, like what the hell's going on? And you start paying attention, and just the color palettes, man, just freaking me out. Very Gummo, like where that kid's in the bathtub, that film. But the music's pretty good. There's a lot of weird like zoom ins where it's just like the mouth moving and
zoom in of the lips. Yeah.
Lots of weird, like interesting. I don't know if that's a German expressionist thing. Like I have no clue, but yeah, this movie it's a ride, man. Gun to your head, Fernie. You're out, right? We don't really have a lot of physical media places, and it wouldn't be Walmart, but you go to your mom and pop store, you're trading in some movies, you got a little store credit, and somewhere up there on that shelf is Cannibal, and they want $89.99 for it. $49.99 on DVD. Are you buying this film?
DVD, not Blu-ray. That's a gun to my head, maybe just for the sake of owning it and being like, yeah, I have that movie. Right. I probably would kind of do what, I guess kind of how you went about it, just like, you got to see this movie and just start giving it to random friends whenever they talk about certain effed up movies or whatever. Just be like, you want to see effed up? Here's this one. Here's Cannibal for you.
Right. It's like somewhere, for some reason, somebody wants to watch Cannibal and you have it. Because you can't just go on YouTube and stream it. Like, it's really hard to find. You can go to like different sites, and it's an American, it's made, there's no like dubbing. And there's hardly any dialogue. So I think that the dude that bought it, I want to say he paid almost $100, but on Amazon it's like $182 or something.
Whoa.
But I did see there was a Blu-ray on eBay. I feel like it was probably a homebrew for like $50. I would totally buy that. Not right now, but
right.
Somewhere you're gonna be like, I want. Yeah, Cannibal's a trip, dude. I think that it's such an endurance test. Once you get through the lovers wanting to eat each other, and then they decide that they're finally going to be strong enough to do it, they don't just do it easily. They gotta it takes like 2 or 3 meetups, right? They're taking different drugs. They're drinking sleeping pills and bottles of wine and hard liquor, and then when they finally get there, yeah, I mean it's a total ride. But then you look on the clicker and you're like, dude, we got 20 minutes left. What else can happen? He's carrying his dead lover down the hallway. Everything's falling apart. He's in the bathtub. He's bleeding out. It's green. You can't handle. Like it's just. It looks like this Armor All Wash and Wax shot. Like that's what the fluids look like in the movie. It's like this burnt yellow, horrible looking. But the film's beautiful to look at. That guy, man, I don't know like what filters or what effects he did. And then you finally get there and it's like, all right, cool. Now we're just going to hack up the body and we're going to prepare the most beautiful dinner you ever had in your life. Everything's going. Or maybe it's a breakfast. I don't know. There's orange juice, Vassier wine, salt and pepper. He's got like food in the pan. Crazy movie.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I do like that the movie ends with him just being like, well, now I'm going about my day. And just like leaves.
I gotta pick up some milk. Need some milk. Maybe some oat milk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cannibal. So it made you gag. Let's talk about another movie that I made you watch over the week that also made you gag.
Oh god.
That I thought, if it's good enough for Criterion, god damn it, it's good enough for Fernie to watch. We are talking about Pier Paolo Pasolini's Salo, or the 120 Days of Sodom. Fernie, take it away. What did you think about this flick? Perfect response.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, I do got some notes, and again, I'll come at it kind of like the way I did the other one. Good cinematography. Very beautiful movie to look at. Just nice camera angles. The acting actually surprisingly was really good as well. It kind of reminded me, it had like a vibe of like an older, obviously older, a Kubrick movie. I don't know why, but it just had that vibe to it for me. Obviously not like a Kubrick movie, but just the cinematography for it. To me, I kind of took away from it is like how absolute power, can be perverse in a number of crazy, intense ways. If anybody who doesn't know, I guess like short of the long of it is just like it's an Italian movie. Takes place in this small town, Salo, and they
1940s.
Yeah, like 45, I think. Yeah, and the fascists there that are supporting the Nazis and all that stuff, they take like I don't know, maybe like 15, 20 young people from this town and just take them to this like secluded mansion just like on the outskirts, and just start doing a bunch of crazy like over the top sexualized stuff to them. At first, I think it was this crazy monologue by the dude who the main guy, I guess, that was like running the show, and he just starts talking about like, yeah, we're gonna be in the orgy room and we're gonna tell stories, and then whoever wants to do anything in the orgy room is just gonna do it to you, and you're gonna have to let them do it. And it's just like, wait, what? And then it starts playing out, and yeah, it's intense for sure. Again, I'm gonna just call it the shit buffet, but
circle the shit.
Yeah, when you get to that bit, there's 2 bits, actually probably about like 3 bits with poop in it, and
there's too much poop.
Yeah, it's way too much poop for one movie. Yeah, there's one bit where it's very, I don't want to say light, it's pretty messed up, but like a dude just takes a dump on the floor and forces this poor woman to eat it. And that was just like, okay, I had a little bit of look away, didn't gag. I was like, I got this, I think. I kind of just did one of through the fingers, like, oh God.
You gotta be shitting me.
Yeah, literally. And then next scene, it's just like everyone's sitting around this like grand table in this huge dining room. And they're like, oh, let's wheel in this cart. And they like, and it looks like it's all fancy. And then they open
music's
they open this thing, and it's just literally a tray full of crap. And
and they're saving it up.
Yeah, they just been saving it for days, probably. Anyway, there was a bit in that whole scene where I was like, I can't watch this. So I started like kind of looking away, and then I looked through my fingers, and then the moment I looked at my fingers, one of the main dudes again that's running the whole show is like talking to somebody, and he's smiling at them, and just like his teeth is full of shit, and he has this like shit-eating grin, quite literally.
Literally.
And that was the moment I almost vomited. I was just like, oh god, no. Yeah, pretty much that scene did me in. I remember kind of just like staring at the screen and watching things after that, but like I was not registering anything I was watching because I was just kind of stuck back on that scene. Yeah, and that was another movie that I was just kind of like, how much longer is this movie gonna go? Because I think I'm done with it, but I watched it till the end, and then it just ends. Yeah, it's just like, oh, okay. Everyone's kind of getting tortured now and getting brutally murdered, and then you're just like, oh, it's over. It's like, oh, okay.
The cool thing about Solo, and there's not a lot of cool things, is that it does bring up like, conversation, man. Like some of those work discuss, some of those like, hey man, we got to chat about this flick here.
Yeah.
I mean, good enough for Criterion. It's crazy. Is that because that he was murdered because they didn't want him to make the film, and then he ended up making it? Sorry. And that's why Criterion was like, nope, we're going to restore it. Or is it so beautiful to look at, like in the beginning, that they're like, nah, dude, we should totally keep this this filth out there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not too sure at all. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, who in their right mind thought they need to preserve this Criterion style?
Seriously. Yeah, I think I've watched it. I've tried to watch it 3 times. I borrowed it from, a coworker that we have. And I think I had it for like 7 months trying to talk myself into why I wanted to watch that movie again. And it's made really well. The music's good. The acting. We had this other side conversation after we watched it. We're like, do you think any of these people ever acted in anything ever again? Or was this just like the nail in the coffin for their acting careers? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a trip.
I mean, they did good in the movie for for what it was. But I remember that thought came to mind. I think halfway through it was like, yeah, I wonder if any of these actors ever worked again or wanted to work again. Never, could have just been like, that's it, one and done.
There's so much graphic nudity in the way that it's like zoom. Like Caligula's pretty bad, but I mean, the things that they're doing, because it's all kind of like nursery rhymes in the orgy room, and they're just being like shown how to do stuff, like just makes it all, you just feel bad watching it. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And so then when you finally get to something like murder at the end, spoiler, right, and they're out in the courtyard, and then you're seeing people being, you're like, oh yeah, that's not so bad, because you just watch someone eat crap for like 20 minutes. Like it's so painful.
I mean, there is even a bit where there's like a big giant cauldron full of shit, and like 3 people are sitting in it. Then after
they're basking. It's good for their glow.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's a trip where they'll zoom in. It's crazy to look at because it's shot so well. It's like, oh, bed, bunker, 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 and under the bed are like these buckets of shit.
Oh yeah,
it's gross. And you're just like, oh, they're saving, like, and then they just kind of commingle. Right, the ultimate reduce, reuse, recycle. It's bad, dude. Yeah. All right, well, Solo's a trip. I'm definitely not recommending it to anybody, but Criterion thinks, hey, you should. This is worth restoring. It's worth having. A couple discs set, right? Gross.
Oh yeah, definitely a nasty.
All right, man. I'm gonna let you choose where we go from here.
All right.
Sorry for making you watch that.
Yeah,
it's a lot of shit.
Let's go with something a little light. Again, it's more like a shout out to one of the first movies I've ever seen with a lot of gore. It wasn't even, I mean, considering what's out now, like with Terrifier and stuff like that. It's just like, oh, that was nothing. But I guess back in the day, it was probably a big thing. But the original Dawn of the Dead.
Okay.
First time I ever saw that movie. Again, another movie where my brain just exploded. Didn't know how they did the zombie bites. The beginning of the movie with the woman who gets that chunk bitten out of her shoulder there and slash neck. I was like, oh my god. That and what I think it's right after that where the door gets kicked open and the dude's head just gets exploded from the shotgun blast.
Well, those
Changed
first
my
10
life.
minutes are
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah, and then I'll jump cut towards the end, and the guy's just getting ripped apart, guts everywhere. It's probably the first time I've ever seen like guts like that on screen. It's just kind of like, oh my god. So much so that that's kind of the movie that got me into wanting to do movies. Originally wanted to learn how to do like special effects and visual effects, so I started reading
Dude,
up
shout
how
out
they.
to Dawn of the Dead. Shout out to
Yeah,
them. That's awesome.
started looking into how they did all that stuff, and yeah, I remember I did a project on it on the 8th grade of special effects, and one of the things I talked about was the zombies that, or I hope it was a zombie, but the guy's head that exploded at the beginning of the movie. And I remember one of my classmates, when I was talking about how they did it, he was just like, "Whoa, that's so cool!" So I was like, "Yes, yeah."
Like, guess what, Johnny? Yeah, guess what?
But yeah, Dawn of the Dead. Not a super nasty movie, but at the same time has some decent amount of gore in it, and it's all practical.
It's
and I love it.
effective. Let me ask you this, Bernie. Now that you've seen, there's the Argento cut, right? There's the 4K. There's been a remake. There's the DVD. There's all sorts of different versions. And forever it was just out of print, and it's super hard to find. Now we got that second sight release. Which version do you prefer? Do you like your blood a little bit purple, pinky, or do you like your blood like crimson red? Do you prefer the original, I guess what I'm saying, where the zombies are kind of green with the kind of like off-colored blood effect, or do you like the new kind of touched up dark red blood?
I not gonna lie, I don't think I've seen the newer one yet. I have, I think it's like a 3-disc set back when, like a collector's thing of DVD before even Blu-ray was a thing. It had the original, the director's cut, and then like a UK cut or something like that. I have that, and that's the only one I've ever watched. So I didn't know that they went back and like touched things up with the blood, and so I'm all about original.
I think I could be talking out of my ass here. I feel like I bought a 4K set that was the Dario Argento. It was from the UK, and most of them were in a different language, in a Italian. And then there was a 4K, and I feel like you could choose different cuts where it had different blood. I hope I'm not making that up. I could swear that one was like super dark and kind of cleaned up, and then one was. It could have been a fan cut that I watched on YouTube. Though. I forget.
Oh yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, I still kind of like that, like the original blood effect. I thought that's Tom Savini, right? Like that's kind of what I got used to.
Yeah, it's like the bright reddish, orangish blood. It's kind of. I don't mind it. I mean, I dig on it.
It's Dawn of the Dead so iconic that I like that classic kind of stuff. Big fan.
Yeah.
Do you like the remake?
I do like the remake. Yeah, Zack Snyder, James Gunn wrote it. I'm not a big fan of running zombies. I know like 28 days later kind of started that, but those aren't technically zombies, they're infected. So for me, having literal the zombies run kind of took it out for me, but at the same time I enjoyed it for what it was. I do like the movie quite a bit. I watch it fairly often.
Is that kind of the Zack Snyder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I hands down watched the original one way more than I watched the director's cut.
A lot of people really they're like, dude, this is one of the best Screen Factory 4Ks of all time. On my screen, it just looks very. It's definitely vivid, but it's like the colors are so. I don't know. Like I mean, I don't think that it's my favorite version of that. I mean, I like the remake for what it is, but I feel like once they're kind of like they're at the mall, I like the kind of back and forth with being Rams on the roof. That's pretty cool. But when the red truck or whatever's coming down and they're just running, it's less effective. I mean, it doesn't. I don't know. I don't like my zombies to run either. I'm cool with the fast walk, right? Fast walk, right. Jason. Fast walk, zombie, no problem. But I think it's more intense when they're just gonna never stop, and you have to kind of outsmart them. I don't want that. I feel like that's easy to have them run. It right. doesn't do it for me. And 28 days later, a lot of people, it's fine. I just don't like running zombies. I guess that's I'm with running zombies.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I mean, I got a heavy movie over here, dude.
Do it.
You want to just do it? I don't know how. This is just kind of like an off the cuff show, we were just kind of talking. We should talk some disturbing flicks while we got some time. So I don't know how long we're gonna go, but we'll try to get a couple in. This movie, you said you really liked it, and your roommate really did not. You sent me a photo, and that roommate was just kind of, I don't want to out them totally, but they looked a little bit shocked, maybe like, what the hell did I just watch, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of people's perspective. We're talking about a Serbian film, uncut.
Had a feeling.
Yep. Where do we stand on a Serbian film?
On a Serbian film, yeah. I was going into this movie not expecting to like it as much as I did, especially for as messed up as the movie is. Well, this starting off, it's for me. Oh, I got my notes here. Let me see.
The one thing about me and the Serbian film.
Right, yeah. I thought it was a cool message about the dark underbelly of the porn industry, right? I mean, literally, this dude, the main character, is an ex-porn star who pretty much likes to fuck in his movies, and yeah, he gets crazy. Yeah, that's just his thing. And this dude, I don't know. I don't remember the character's name, but I'm gonna call him the producer. Oh, was it Milo?
Milo.
Oh, Milo's the main character.
I forget the producer's name. You're right.
Yeah, I don't remember the producer's name either. But this dude, a producer, is like, we're making a new movie. You're gonna be the star. You just have this talent to get in there.
Of you, buddy.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah, you just have what we need. We need you in this movie. And he's like, oh, pass. But then they, offer him a comical amount of money, and he decides to do it. But you get for me, it's also a crazy character study of who this guy is, and I think that's what I liked about it, because at first he's even kind of, I think the beginning of the movie he's watching one of his own movies, wasn't he? Kind of reminiscing about it, I guess. But then his son catches him watching it, and he's like, "Oh no, you can't watch that. Oh, I'm just messing around with these women. Don't worry about who they are." But and he's trying to be a changed man. He's a family man. He has his wife. He has his son. And there was a one bit in the movie when I think it's after he gets offered it and he denies it. He's with his wife. And she starts talking to him how come you never have sex with me the way that you have sex with the porn stars?
And this is what we talked about the day after. I was still thinking about that. That's a crazy plot point. Sorry.
Yeah. So instantly, this dude just mind you, he hasn't probably tapped into that for years, but instantly it turns on for him, and he's flipping his wife over and ripping off clothes and just getting hardcore with her, showing her a different side of who he is. And that's just a taste. That's just where it starts, and it's oh, okay, yeah. So he doesn't want to tap into that anymore. I get it. But then, he finally agrees, I think because of his wife says just do it kind of thing. Oh, don't worry about it. We can use the money kind of thing. So he decides to, get back in the ring. And then
that's not the old jockstrap.
Yeah, exactly. Dude. But then it just starts getting messed up real quick. He's in rooms, getting down and dirty, and then all of a sudden there's a child in the room watching him, and he's so confused why the kid's there, and it's what? And even I guess audience members as well are probably the same way.
Cerebral nightmare. What?
Yeah. Exactly. And yeah, and this producer just keeps doing more and more to the point where he's no, you know what? You're not gonna tell me what it is, what we're doing here with this movie. I'm gonna quit. And then they decide to drug him up with some stuff, and I don't know if I can say it, but and then they gave him what Viagra mixed with this upper
performance enhancing drugs, PEDs.
Yes, and then all of a sudden it started clicking for me why they wanted him is because he just has this raw sexual energy, and when he is just cougar loose, hyped up on drugs, boner that won't go down. He just gets
He's
down and won't
down.
stop. Doesn't even think about it. He's just in the zone. So much so that he doesn't even realize what he's doing to these people or what his actions are or who he's even probably having sex with. And that's when it starts getting messed up.
I don't think he even cares. He's just going for it.
Yeah. Well, that and he's being manipulated a little bit. He has like an earpiece in his ear, and the producer dude is like whispering things to him or telling him things about like the people he's with, even though it's probably not true at all. But oh yeah, she's doing this and she's doing that. Oh yeah, you want to hit her now, don't you? And he's like, yeah. So he starts like,
I do now.
Yeah, I do want to hit her. Why not?
Why did I think of that?
Yeah, and
as he's just giving permission the whole time, they're like, yeah, unchain yourself, buddy. You got untapped potential.
Right. Yeah, and then once he starts going, he starts hitting. Then as his hand comes back, somebody just like, oh, let me just slide this little knife into your hand kind of situation. Then he doesn't even realize that he has one. So now that he starts hitting her now, he has a knife or whatever. And it's just like, this is getting twisted. But at the same time, it's still good. Up until this bit, and this is the bit where my roommate was...
Where everybody checks out, folks. This is why we're here.
Yeah.
This is the scene that hauls the mail, right?
Yeah. There were two scenes for my roommate. Well, both of them were pretty bad. But the one in particular is where the producer finally reveals, like, all right, this is the type of movie we're actually making. And yeah, I don't even know how to say it. I don't know how to explain it. It's a childbirth scene, right? And instantly goes from childbirth scene into a very messed up scene with the child or the baby, not even a child, the baby, freshly born baby.
And it's filmed well. That's what's messed up, man.
And thankfully too, you don't really see anything like you see pretty much the whole like childbirth aspect, but then like the moment it goes into something a lot naughtier, you're pretty much just on the back of the dude doing the naughty stuff. Yeah, that was rough. Roommate did not like that scene at all. The ending also, and then the ending too turns into this kind of like revenge movie, and I think that's also why I kind of liked it, because I was like, this guy just wants to get back at the people who messed him up, got him back in this world. It's an erotic thriller, right? Yeah, right. Yeah, it's kind of like an erotic thriller, but they go really, really dirty with a lot of the stuff. But then yeah, the ending with the twist, that twist was also like you see it coming, but at the same time,
it's still heavy.
Yeah, it's super heavy. Deals with the guy's family, his brother as well. Yeah. Then a lot of people get murdered right after that. Yeah, but I don't know. For whatever reason, I don't know what it says about me, but I was just I remember I finished it and I was like, yeah, that movie, take away some of the over-the-top messed up stuff. Maybe like trim it down a bit. And it's actually a really good movie. Like a good character study is kind of how I justified liking it. I don't know. Weird.
Yeah, I get the outrage, right? People are just tuning in. They're like, what are they talking about? And it's like, they're still talking about a Serbian film.
Yeah.
It's bad, but it's not, at least all of the bad, like horrible behavior happens off screen. Like we are sheltered from a lot of what happens. You do get a lot of sultry, messed up scenes though still, and it's filmed like with the rooms are filmed and lit really well, the angles, the transition, like it's a really, I mean, what did that say about, I mean, it's crazy to read interviews with the directors. I don't know, man. It's a very competent film. I mean, it just kind of sucks that it's always going to go down is because of those two scenes. People can't get through it, and I get it. I mean, when I watched it, I was like, what in the fuck was that, dude? And I watched it with a friend. We were both on the couch, just like, that just happened. Like, you almost like can't even absorb it all. Like, you have to kind of like, I got to remove myself, like my brain for just a second while we're here. I'm going to take another Rainier. Yeah. Give me a cold beer. I need something else. Like, it's heavy. But,
yeah.
And it's not like you go back and revisit all the time, but once you know, it's like, all right, well, it's not super gory. It's just the subject
That is
matter.
true. Yeah.
It's, fatal attraction, single white female, all of those kind of like 90s erotic thrillers, but pumped up to 100.
Mm, it's true.
And he watched the uncut version. This is not the one that's been edited. This is the unearthed, the real deal. So, Serbian film, man, that film fucks.
Yeah,
No doubt.
literally. Yeah.
It's bad. But all right. Well, I took one of the heavies. You got any other ones over there you want to chat about?
Yeah. There's another one that you let me borrow that I really enjoyed as well. And it's not, I don't know, I guess compared to like Salo and Serbian film, it's not that bad, but it's still pretty messed up, is Martyrs. To me, that movie was like two different films. You get the first kind of half of the movie where it's like this revenge flick. These two women, well, one woman goes to the house of somebody and murders everybody in the house and then calls her friend over to help her like clean up and all that stuff. But she's like super traumatized and you don't really know why. You just know that she has these crazy hallucinations and her friend doesn't know what's going on either, but like she's trying to help her overcome the trauma. And I think her friend that was just like, maybe if you just kill these people, it'll go away. But like she goes over there, murders the whole family.
Brutal scene, dude. Brutal's like the term. That orange juice scene with the shotgun.
Oh god, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I mean,
So
that kid,
intense.
what, the son, right? The older
Like
son.
backing up. He doesn't. Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
And she
that
just
scene
like,
stresses me out.
yeah. Where
In
she
broad
questions-
daylight, enjoying a scone.
Yeah.
I know more, buddy.
It's like, do you know what your parents did? No. She turns around for a second, collects herself, turns around, blows him away. I was like, whoa.
Dude, he just
Okay.
explodes.
Yeah.
Paints the wall. Brutal.
But yeah, and so and again, it's like this revenge film. You don't really know what's happening, and then all of a sudden, the movie just like flips, and there's these other people there, and the girl that did all the murdering gets killed off, and then her friend all of a sudden is the main character, and the people that pretty much came in and got them are like part of this, I don't know, an organization or
syndicate, some sort of
cult or something. But
yeah, free world cult something, dude.
yeah, pretty much you find out too that there's like this woman in the basement. I forgot how they find that out, but there's like a basement and then there's like a sub level underneath the basement, and it's just this like huge facility for pretty much torturing people. And there's some woman down there, and the girl who becomes the main character tries to help her out, but these other group people come in and all that stuff, and then they just start doing the torturing to her, and it just turns into this torture movie all of a sudden. And at first it's like, what is going on here? And then they start.
Which parts did you like better?
What was it?
Which half did you like better?
Oh man, I think I like the second half better. I don't know. It's just because it's like the context or what it goes. So pretty much like this cult, whatever they are torturing women specifically. They tried with men, but apparently the results they want don't come out and as men as often as they do with women. But it's pretty much this notion of like torture to the point where you just transcend reality. You're in and out. You're pretty much like dead, but you're still alive. So you're like transcending and to the point where you can see God or heaven, whatever it is.
Full consciousness. Yeah, you reach your highest level.
Exactly. And the way they go about it with the main character at the end is pretty messed up. With filleted alive and. Yeah, and then the mush. Oh man, I couldn't handle. For some reason, I couldn't handle the force feeding of that like baby food or whatever that was. The mush. It was just like God. Every time she's like, "No, I don't
she's
want
covered
it."
in bandages. She's skinned. Like just
Yeah.
give her a steak, dude. Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Intense.
I don't know. And then the ending is kind of, I guess, open ended. It's up for the user to, or the
Yeah,
viewer rather,
choose your
to
own
come to.
adventure.
Yeah, because it just kind of ends on this weird note where the girl's getting tortured, does transcend, and one of the people who's running it comes up and it's like, "Tell me what you saw," and she whispers, and you don't ever know what she says, but that girl, the woman knows, and then she ends up like just very happily just killing herself. Hope I can say that. And
Yeah, unalived or so.
okay, and so it's just like, whoa, okay, and then it just kind of ends. So I don't know. My takeaway is that maybe this woman told her like, yeah, there is an afterlife, there is something, and so she was just kind of like happy enough to just be like, all right, well, since I have confirmation, I am out. Like I want to just hit the bricks, tired of living.
Yeah. Do, do
That's my
you
takeaway.
do you think that I forget if it's Anna or I can't remember if that's her name. I think that might have been the girl in the beginning, but do you think she gave her the wrong information on purpose to try to like get her revenge?
Oh man, I don't know.
Because the woman definitely believed her. She was just
Yeah,
like it
whatever she
was so
said, yeah.
powerful to her that you can go through all of this horrible torture, flayed, skinned, beaten, right? Like your body's done, and then you see God, you transcend, and then I tell you about it, and you're like, it's true, like, and then peace out. I've always kind of liked to think that she led her astray. Like nobody gets to know what I know. That
Ooh.
I don't know. That's what's kind of cool about the end of the movie.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. Never even thought about. But I mean, I don't know. Do you think she would have like the mental capability and the shape that she's in to be like, one last time, I'm gonna screw her over before I
I feel like
die?
she was fighting so hard, like I love to look at it as like the ultimate revenge piece, and so that was kind of her revenge. But I don't know if there's a lot of people that subscribe to that idea. I also like the way that you described it is like it makes the movie so powerful. If that is what happened,
Yeah,
there's that part of me that just wants to like have her stick it to him. You know
yeah,
what, dude? You wanted this, and then because how would she know? Like only the person that's seen it would know. And
true.
there's a whole lot of people that get on Reddit forums or Google reviews or whatever, and they just down people that don't like martyrs because of the torture. And fair, like you got to go through some stuff to reach that ultimate transcend. That's the whole point of the movie. You can't stop. Why would you? The first half hour, I think, is worse than a lot. I mean, being flayed alive, all that other stuff is pretty intense, but I think the first, like some of those opening scenes were so brutal and it's just so jarring, like the violence that happens. Oh man, yeah. The images that you think when you Google the movie, like that's not even what the last half is about. The last half is just so like there's like that spiritual torturous realm, but to not
Right.
finish it because of that, I think that was the director's vision and that's why they wanted to do it that way. So I'm for it. Yeah, big fan of that movie. I think it's just brilliant.
Yeah, I was surprised I
You
even liked it as
never
well.
forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I also let him borrow Inside, another French. There's the whole French movement. There was like Hot Tension or High Tension, and then Frontiers. Inside is almost as good as Martyrs. If you catch me the right time of year, I might say Inside's better than Martyrs. It's a Christmas movie, Fern. You're gonna like it.
Oh, well, I haven't watched it yet. I haven't yet. I have not put it on yet. I'm
They're
hoping
very
to
very
squeeze it
good
in
movies.
this week.
Yeah, very, very intense. Very similar to Martyrs. The way that they film their violence and like that shaky cam and kind of like when someone runs into the wall, like you can feel the wall. You're like everything's just so jarring. And the French, it's pretty awesome. But Inside, it just does not quit and it just keeps coming. There's scissors. There's a lot of things that happen in that movie that almost as good as Martyrs. I'm still going to say Martyrs is just a little bit better than Inside, but I mean, I might choose Inside if I was like, you got to choose the right movie. You're like, oh, Inside, it's a Christmas movie. Big fan,
Nice.
big fan. Let me know what you think. Maybe we'll come back on and digest that thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what else I let you borrow over the last. I mean, you've gone down this depraved, whatever you want to call it, just this train to the hell, man. Some of the movies that you watch, Serbian film Solo, Megan is Missing, Martyrs. Inside's going to clean it up a little bit. It's about the same as Martyrs. The Girl Next Door is the other one I let you borrow. It's going to make you feel real bad. That's another real bad one that people hate. If you watch it, you're a piece of shit. So just be prepared. But it kind of plays like a Stephen King story, like something out of Stand By Me or The Outsiders even, you know, because it's this gang of friends, and it's Jack Ketchum who made The Woman and The Offspring. He wrote it. True story. And so, you know, I guess the book's supposed to be way worse, but yeah, I'm curious to hear what you think about The Girl.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah. You know, I brought out a couple. I mean, have you watched the Poughkeepsie tapes?
I have not, no.
I'm gonna bring that one in. I'm sure you've seen obviously Terrifier. That, you know, for a lot of people, Terrifier is the most disturbing film they're ever gonna see because normies are just flooding to the theater right now to watch the new Terrifier movies. And I think it's great for the genre. I think it's great for people to be like, oh, this isn't made for me. There's a whole bunch of people that wear these t-shirts in here like Fernie, and they just worship this Terrifier stuff. Art the Clown, man. What do you think about Terrifier being the most disturbing movie, like, you know, your ketchup only Kens are ever going to see?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was another one. Terrifier 2 and 3. Was the last two on my list. Just because I think up to that point, those were pretty much the most hardcore probably movies I've seen. That bedroom scene in part 2. Yeah. Just being filleted, and she's still alive when her mom comes, and she's like, Mom. It's like, oh God. But yeah, I love Terrifier 2 and part 3. I know a lot of people are saying is a little more hardcore than 2. I think you and I had the discussion that we believe part 2 is a little more intense, especially with the gore and stuff like that.
That bedroom scene, man. Get out of here. Shut the front door. That bedroom scene.
That's a long sequence, you know. it's not just like quick and easy. Yeah. I know the shower scene was a big thing for a lot of people, but it felt like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's really messed up, and the chainsaw right up the old gish there was intense, but it seemed like it was just kind of quick couple of cuts of what's happening of the gore, and then it just kind of like, all right, now we're going on to something else. Where that bedroom scene, you're lingering a lot. On that chick. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm reading this thing. Yeah, but I think, you know, it's cool. Maybe it's people who watch Terrifier, the franchise, will start segueing into some of these more hardcore movies. You know, you never know. Might just light that fire under their butt.
What's cool about Terrifier was when it first came out. I'd seen All Hallows Eve. I think I rented that from a Blockbuster because of the cover, and I thought that, you know, All Hallows Eve, cool, Art the Clown, like it had a cool cover. I was intrigued, and then, you know, when this, I don't know if this came on Netflix or how I seen this. Maybe Blockbuster was still here. Is this 2017? Maybe. You know, our part of the world, the last Blockbuster is not that far from us, so we've had Blockbusters here for a long time, luckily. But when I put that thing on, a lot of people that I talk to about, they're like, Terrifier, dude, I'm so over clowns, dude. They're so stupid. I hate clowns. I'm not even watching that. Yeah, dudes down here saying it might have been Netflix first, but I thought that this is a mean-spirited film. I just, when they're in the pizzeria, I kind of like my gore cheesy like that. I like my acting sleazy. Like that's an 80s flick, man, and that's exactly what I wanted from this film. I didn't need like some crazy story or plot. The stuff with the beginning, is it Vicky and the television stuff, like all that after school special, kind of like Donahue. Fucking, I was in, dude. When her face, I was in, and then love the two goth chicks, you know, and everything that happens to them, and then obviously the hacksaw scene. But I also like that he's just, that's a great film. This is still my favorite because I just think it sets the tone for the whole series. Yeah. And I'm a big fan. I was just, people came around, they're like, hey, dude, where can I see that Terrifier 2 you've been talking about? Everybody's talking about it. It's like, oh, yeah, it must be nice. You want to finally watch this shit you crap about. I think it's great. Oh, I mean, we did talk. Sorry, one more thing. We'll let you take the floor. I think that I like my Terrifier around Halloween. I think that part 3, the pageantry of Christmas and all that, if you showed me this movie in December, I would have bought in a little bit more. It's October when it came out. I'm watching it. All Hallows Eve, Terrifier, Halloween Night, Terrifier 2, Halloween, like, and you get a little more supernatural in part 2, but I just think that the Christmas ruined it for me a little bit. Not enough to be like, I don't recommend it. I'm gonna go ahead and say 7 out of 10, but I think this first one, for just the nastiness and the gore, I'm giving that a 9 out of 10. I love the first two.
Nice.
What do you think about part 3? What do you like about it?
Oh, I really enjoyed part 3. Part 3 for me, I think I like them the first one, third one, second one. Part 3 for me just was obviously, you can tell they got that money. Production value went up. Yeah. Looked a lot cleaner and nice. I really enjoyed that. Acting as well for me was a lot better across the board for like everyone. That, and I don't know. I kind of dug on the Christmas stuff. I don't know why. Just Art being silly with his crazy antics, and the whole scene of how he got the costume in that bar with Santa and your brother while we're watching, because I went and saw it with his brother at theaters, and the whole when he rips off the beard, he called it when he pulled out the freeze on his face. He's like, "Oh God, he's gonna rip off his beard, isn't he?" And then literally, like moments later, yeah, that was wild stuff. And I enjoyed it. Then I don't know, for some reason, Art's mask, or well, I should say the prosthetic on David's face, to me looked more like intense, and he was able to do more expressions with it, and I really enjoyed that as well. I don't know. Yeah, again, for me, part one,
being a mime, I mean,
yeah. For me,
you get more of that.
Part 1, part 3, part 2. But they're all up there. I remember a buddy of mine, when I worked down at Mystic Museum, Indy was the one who told me to watch the first one, and it was just, I think he showed me the trailer for part 2, and then he was like, "Dude, you need to watch this." And I don't remember how I saw it, but I watched it, was all in, went to the theater by myself to see part 2 because I was like, nobody wants to go see this movie with me. Yeah, so I was like, I'm going by myself. I don't care. Yeah. So yeah, I loved it.
You gotta have goals, man.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'm not below going to movies by myself. I don't care. I'll go see a movie if I need to see a movie. But yeah, love the Terrifier franchise.
Yeah, I think that first one, man. I mean, I kind of like. Yeah, I can talk about this one for forever. I think that. Yeah, I don't know. You could definitely tell that he had an idea, and he just threw everything at the wall. It's cool to see him get more money. It's cool to see each film progresses the story, and they kind of left it on a cliffhanger, right? So there's going to be a part 4. Who knows how far they'll go with it? But
Art in Space. No, I'm joking.
Right. I think he does a great job. I think that, yeah, it's a trip to watch even those Instagram videos where they show the clown without makeup, where they show David and trip out, man.
Yeah,
that shit. Big fan, Terrifier. I mean, I got Cannibal Holocaust over here. A lot of people hate that film. Do you have any problems with Cannibal Holocaust?
Never seen it. I believe that's one I was supposed to watch with your brother, actually. I think.
You were. The first time Freddie ever came over, I pulled this bad boy out. I was talking to Joel about it, and Joel's like, I haven't seen it. Freddie's like, I want to watch it. Joel's like, no, I get it. And so I had a couple of copies on DVD, and I gave it to Joel. But first I had to take the poster, because it was like a limited edition poster. And then I was like, no, fuck it. Just take the poster too. It's fine. Yeah, Cannibal Holocaust, man. I'll bring it in. Love this movie. I'm a Cannibal Holocaust defender, man. I think that's one of the OGs for found footage, one of the best in the business. Kind of a film within a film, dream, whatever you want to say. Yeah. Big fan. We got some people here. Yeah. The animals, right? That's what's hard to watch. That turns a lot of people off, and I think if it was just showing the Amazon tribe. So what happens is there's a turtle scene. Spoiler that they just massacre this poor turtle. There's a couple of animal deaths in there that are real. And yeah, it's very off-putting. And There is a PETA cut of the film though. If you didn't want to watch that, you can find it that way too. Yeah, Cannibal Holocaust. It's intense. Any other disturbing flicks that you want to hype up before we get out of here? I got a couple I'm going to bring in so you can borrow. So we can talk
Yeah.
about
Not off top of my head, at least disturbing wise. Not that I can think of. Gosh, everything I could think of I put on my list earlier. So yeah, I'm fresh out of that.
So one I think that you would really like. This is a Lars von Trier. He did Antichrist. He's done like Nymphomaniac. His The House That Jack Built with Matt Dillon. I just want to know what you think about it because it's filmed so well and there's so many like. I think this is a perfect film. It's a little bit long in the tooth. I think it's like 2 hours and 30 minutes maybe, and there's the director's cut, unrated cut. It's brutal. It's disturbing. It's just a portrait of a serial killer, kind of like Henry, but really artistic. Really, I mean, a lot of people. This is the line for them. They're like, I'm not watching anything like that. That's where I draw the line because the kids don't have body armor, so you know things happen, and he gets off on it. It's cruel. It's mean. I can't wait for you to watch it. So if you feel like screaming, you definitely should. But I just think it's filmed really well. I really think you're.
No, it's funny that you mentioned that movie. I bought that movie digitally. I have a Vudu account. I share some of it with some of my buddies. And that one was asked to watch for somebody told me to buy it for this October so they can watch it.
Nice.
And then my buddy Chance, and he texted me and he was just like, dude, you should watch this movie, man. And I was like, oh, okay. So he told me that like the other day as well. So
you're gonna like it. I can just tell. And it's a little bit older. I think that poor Matt Dillon. I've loved Matt Dillon since like Drugstore Cowboy and The Outsiders. And I've always thought Matt Dillon was great. But Singles, right? He's awesome in everything. Anyway, you're gonna think he's a serial killer every time you see him now because he's so effective and he's just so off-putting on camera.
Nice. Okay.
But yeah, they do this stuff where they kind of do stop motion. He's inside his head. He's talking to a therapist. He's like looking at light poles and how far you get from one to the other before the light shines. There's so much. It's just smart. Lots of fun metaphors, but brutal, disturbing. Another movie from his that my brother just borrowed is Antichrist, and I think that that's the perfect October film. So if he's listening, hopefully you watch that thing, and so you can let Bernie borrow that because I think Antichrist is the best film. But House of Jack Built, it brings it, man. It's a mean flick too.
Nice.
Yeah. Did you watch Dead Girl? I feel like I'm just pulling out all ones I haven't.
No, I don't think I've seen Dead Girl.
See, okay.
Maybe.
Nasty.
Not.
We have this coworker that recommends, when I first started working there, he was like, dude, there's this movie called Dead Girl. And on Vudu, it was $2.99. So I own it digitally. And it's shockingly good. It's just it's very gross. Kind of like, it's not one of those like American kind of coming of age comedies that has zombies and torture. So kind of a brutal flick, but I think you're probably going to like that one too. Like, dude, that was mean spirited. Really well shot. Trip out. So
nice.
I'm gonna bring you a pile. We got a bunch to talk about.
I know.
The only other one that I watched that I didn't like, that me and my buddy Jay just bought, was this Black Metal Veins. Lucifer Valentine. He's kind of famous for those vomit gore trilogies, where he just he exploits people, I think, and he's like pretty anonymous online. But this one is just following heroin and crack users over like the period of a year, and you just watch them go from beautiful to horrible to dead.
Oh,
pretty depressing, but it's kind of like watching Intervention. So I don't know, compared to the other stuff you've been watching, I don't think it's gonna be. You're just gonna be like, that was really sad. Why did we have to watch that?
Josh is just making me depressed now.
I'm pulling my teeth out with some of these films. Cool, man. Well, what's your plan for the rest of the week? You got anything fun you're gonna watch?
Gosh. Well, the two you let me borrow at some point during the week. Halloween, I just do.
Yeah, what's your go-to Halloween pick? What do you like to watch on the day? I'm always curious.
I stay like just in the Halloween franchise. Halloween Day is for Halloween
Nothing else.
franchise, nothing else.
Do you
I
watch any of
usually
them the rest of the month?
no, I save them all for. Oh, I don't save them all, but usually I'll do a little marathon. So whenever I probably get done with work, I'll just come home and start tossing them on. Usually I end the night. The last one is the original, always. I've been doing that for the past couple of years. It's just like, all right, I'm done with for the night. The original's going on. But from there, I don't. There's no like order. I just whatever I'm vibing with. Like, oh, all right, here's Chris Michael Myers. Oh, okay, here's Halloween Kills, whatever. Um, so probably at least 3 or 4 Halloween movies of the franchise that I'm probably gonna throw on.
So the controversial pick here. I have been the last couple of years. I have been watching the 2 Rob Zombie Halloween movies, and I know that that's blasphemous for people, but I'm a fan of that first one. I don't love the parts with Sherry Moon where I don't like that kid. He's punchable. But I think that when Superbad came out, I had to make a decision: Rob Zombie's Halloween or Superbad. I was like really torn, and I was dating the wrong person. We went, and she had a horrible time, and we broke up later. And so I've always kind of liked Halloween because of that. It's like tied to like where I was like, oh cool, I finally get to get away. So I have a soft spot for the Rob Zombie versions.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of saving movies during October?
Saving? What do you mean?
So me and my brother, we have this discussion where you can't just put on your favorite October horror movie, whatever you're going to watch. You need to save it for the right mood, the right night. The stars have to align. Maybe there's a full moon. Maybe there's a Friday the 13th, right? Maybe you have someone gives you a special bottle of booze. Maybe you're having a party. Like, you wouldn't just watch The Exorcist on October 1st, because if that's one of your favorite films, you can't waste it. You have to save it. I've gotten in trouble with the save method just recently, where I'm now running out of time. I have 3 days.
Yeah.
And I've got like 12 movies I've got to watch because I've saved them. So learn from me. Maybe don't save films.
Yeah.
If you want to watch a horror movie, watch it now, because you're going to run out of time, brother.
No, I feel that. No, I usually obviously save the Halloween franchise for Halloween Day. I don't watch any of the Friday the 13th because I always do marathons on any Friday the 13th.
Sure.
So I'm like, it doesn't matter who I'm with. I'm just like, we're doing Friday the 13th tonight because it's Friday the 13th and we're watching like 3 of them. I do have, I guess, nothing, but I don't save any of them throughout the month of October. I have some that I save that are like my winter horror movies, or now I have a new November horror movie, Thanksgiving. Is like that one. I'm not gonna watch during October. I'm gonna watch that closer to Thanksgiving. The Shining, The Thing, Silent Night, Deadly Night are all my winter horror movies. What else? Black Christmas. Now
Storm of the Century.
What was that?
Storm of the Century, Misery.
Exactly. Terrifier 3 is probably gonna be that.
That's a big
now.
Yeah, man. Poor marketing. Marketing.
But for the most part, no, I don't normally save any of the movies. I suppose if I feel like I want to watch it, I just toss it on.
And you're living the right way over there.
Yeah.
Across the way. I mean,
I was just gonna say because I saw the comment about how I'm gonna watch Halloween. Or Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2, and I actually watched those movies with Escalation there last year. We synced up and watched them, and we just wanted to reassess our feelings about the Rob Zombie Halloweens, and we both kind of came to the realization, the first one, not the greatest movie, but at the same time, it's not too shabby. We liked it.
Terrific soundtrack, dude. Terrific. That God of Thunder opening. So many good songs in that movie.
Might as well call him Michelle. Oh my God, the stepdad or whatever. Anyway, and then the second one though, we both were just, I don't know, it was like nonstop laughing for us. We just could not take that movie serious.
That was another really good movie theater experience though. That truck scene where they're driving and the cow was so brutal in the theater, and then obviously Knights in White Satin starts playing, and then Michael just hacking and slashing through that hospital. I'm a Rob Zombie 2 defender, god damn
See,
it.
I
I don't
like
care.
the opening sequence of Rob Zombie 2, and that was. I remember when I saw that in theaters, like I was edge of my seat, like hell yeah, this is what I'm talking about. And then it turned out to be like a dream sequence, and I was like, what? You know what I mean? It just.
Yeah.
It really kind of just took me out of it for that moment. That's why I was like, because I hadn't seen the movie since I saw it in theaters. So that's why we did the rewatch last year. Yeah.
Are you a fan of the record store, the girls, and all of that?
Yeah, that wasn't too shabby. The dialogue's a little cheesy, but at the same time, like, they pull it off as actors, so I was all about it, you know? And the gore is always good. It's just, I don't know. The overall story of the second one just was like, what am I watching? The white horse thing, and I don't know. It's just like, I don't know.
It's a little weird.
Yeah.
But he does explain it at the beginning. You know, he starts talking about it. He gives you the definition and everything.
Right.
I think that Brad Dourif deserved an Oscar for his role.
Brad Dourif.
And his daughter, you can see him breaking as the sheriff. Like, I think he holds that movie together. He is the sleeper pick for one of the best sheriffs in the Halloween franchise. I love Brad Dourif
Yeah.
but
he's probably
I mean, Daniel Harris, man, she's struggling.
Yeah.
Struggling in that.
Well, I was to say something else. I forgot though. Oh well.
This went off topic. We went way down the Halloween.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
People hate it. I get it. So where do you lie on Halloween? You know, what's your? Do you have a favorite Halloween film, or is Halloween Part 3 considered a Halloween film? Right, like there's a couple sides of the aisle people usually take with this topic, and I'm just curious. You know, what's your top 3? Maybe go there.
For Part 3.
Or just what's your top 3?
Oh, top 3 in general.
Well,
of course, number 1's the original. That original movie was when I first started watching my horror movies on VHS that I had from my uncle. Halloween was the first one I threw on, and that movie changed my life. At least because that was like, I don't know, because I think I heard you talk, or one of your other podcasts, you were talking about how like the type of horror movies you like, and for me it's slasher, and it's all because I got into Halloween, Scream like right after that, and I just like went down that rabbit hole with like, you know, the Freddy Krueger's, Friday the 13th, and all that fun stuff, with a buddy of mine named Brandon back in 8th grade and pretty much throughout high school. But
slashed it up.
Yeah, so for me, the original Halloween is just where it's at. And then from there, gosh.
See, and my little brother outed you. He said that no, Fernie's favorite franchise is Scream. He's a Ghostface guy, not a Halloween guy.
Oh, I know.
And I was like, are you fucking with me? For real?
No.
Like, no,
okay. Can a guy be both? Can a guy be both?
Yeah, I mean, you do you, man. You get to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I was just like, no way he likes Scream over Halloween. I mean, maybe.
Oh, I love Scream movies, though. It's true. But we're talking
soft spot
Halloween,
with Scream.
Yeah. But Part 3.
No judgment, man. This is a safe space. We're in a trust tree here.
Yeah.
Say whatever you want.
I was just saying, I remember the first time I saw Part 3, though. Halloween 3. I did not care for it at all. I was 100% probably like the fanboys back in the 80s, like, Michael Myers is in English. I don't care for this movie at all.
Cameo.
Yeah. But, you know, jump cut many years later, and that movie's grown on me quite a bit. I would probably have to say, it's probably my third favorite in the franchise, next to I think it's like Halloween H2O is my second one.
Dude, all right, we're aligned, man. So I just watched H2O again, like when I was carving pumpkins last week.
Nice.
If it wasn't for that stupid mask,
Yeah.
it would be right at the top, and it still is at number 2. But the acting's great, the pacing's great, the kills are great. H2O is the sleeper pick, man.
Yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt with the skate in his face at the beginning of the movie. I remember I saw that in theaters. I was like, whoa.
I've been hearing people say it's like a summerween movie because it's in California. You know, it's just got a cool aesthetic. It's got a cool vibe. Huge fan of H2O. My favorite one, though, is Part 3. I hate to say it. Part 3, Chariot of Pumpkins, that song, there's something about... That's a John Carpenter film. Like it's more John Carpenter than the first one for some reason. I don't know what it is.
Mm.
I love Season of the Witch, man. Big fan. And then probably 78. And then
Nice. Yeah.
well, Chance here says, "What's your favorite anthology?" We got a couple more minutes, and we'll get out of here. You got a favorite anthology, maybe, or just a top couple you like?
Yeah. Well, obviously, Creepshow, classic.
Boom.
Oh man. The anthologies. Oh man, I don't remember the name of it. There was this Japanese anthology my brother watched. Me and him watched it last year. He bought, I think, like a Criterion of it. And I remember it's a beautiful movie, just across the board. Every segment was just brilliantly and beautifully shot. Cinematography is amazing. It's kind of a slow burn.
The dumplings one.
There's one with a ghost. Okay, so have you seen Tales from the Dark Side?
Oh, yeah.
The movie. You know the movie with the bit with the gargoyle and like, oh yeah, you can't tell anybody what happens to me and this and that. So that came from originally this Japanese movie, but it was a demon, and the demon fell in love with a human, and then like made herself look more human than not, and saved the dude who was dying like in a winter storm or something like that. But like it was essentially the same plot. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, I love this movie. But yeah, I just can't remember it for the life of me for whatever reason.
Yeah, you got to let me know. That sounds sick.
Yeah, because it's definitely like maybe a 50s or 60s movie. So yeah. But I don't know. What about you? I'm like, I feel like I'm brain farted right now.
I go Asylum 72. I love that film. Or I think it's House of Crazies. That's the other term for it. Asylum, Creepshow. Anthologies are my favorite thing. I think that they're Tales from the Hood, Tales from the Dark Side, Body Bags, Creepshow 2. There's Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead. That's got a cool little wraparound. I was going to do a video just on anthologies. Maybe that's what we'll do. We come back next week or something. We'll do just anthologies because we can talk about that. Anthologies are the best, dude. That's like besides found footage and I guess splatter, I love anthologies. Like wraparound stories, big fan. Yeah. All right, folks. Well, it is like 1:35 on the East Coast. It's 10:36 here. We got to work tomorrow. Anything else you want to mention really quick or hype up before we get out of here?
I just want to give a shout out to my buddy Chance. He helped me out greatly with this headset here. A good buddy of mine, so I just want to give him a good old shout out. Thank you.
Shout out to Chance. Bernie sounds great. His with the mic and the headset, man, its production value is way up today. Way up.
That's what's up.
Awesome. And then thanks. Yeah, this is the first time we've actually had some people live in the chat. Either that or I just didn't know how to use it before. So I'm trying to kind of like throw people's comments on there and try to make it more fun. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us for almost an hour and 30 minutes. We're going to come back. We'll do a part two pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
Where we actually go through all the movies that Fernie watched in the last couple of weeks. I kind of want a little kind of ongoing segment, torturing Fernie. Like I think it would be really good. And my brother likes to give him a hard time about, dude, you're just gonna like ruin this dude. Don't be so mean to him with all these movies you're making him watch. He's taking them like a champ, and the ones that I think he would like, he likes. So, you never know. You can't typecast people, right, Fern? I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't tempt me with a good time watching movies. I watch
a great movie.
Whatever.
Martyrs is great. We talked about Solo. You got to watch Flowers too, really quick. While I got this is another one with no dialogue. There's no nudity on there, right? I'm sorry. Phil Stevens, I went to his website. He sent it to me for $15. Flowers 1 and 2. I'll let you borrow those. Those are nasty flicks, but pretty disturbing in their own right. Thanks for being here, folks. Do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, share it with people. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. Later, friends.